All right, think about this for a second. You've got Nikola Tesla, the wizard of energy, and you've got Elon Musk, the guy building our future. What if I told you that these two geniuses, a century apart, were actually describing the exact same reality? And what if the key to it all wasn't invented in Silicon Valley, but was discovered thousands of years ago in ancient China? Yeah, let's dive into that.
So it all really kicks off with this famous quote from Tesla. He was convinced that what we see and touch, this solid material world, isn't the whole story. He believed that underneath it all, there's this hidden layer of reality, and it's not run by magic, but by pure physics, an entire universe that's just vibrating.
Okay, now let's jump forward 100 years or so. You've got Elon Musk saying something that sounds like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie. But here's the thing, it's actually based on cold, hard probability. He's basically saying, look, our reality, it's just so intricate, so mathematically perfect, that the odds are stacked way in favor of it being a super advanced computer simulation, not, the real.
So what happens when you put those two ideas together? You've got a universe that's all about vibration and a world that's just a giant simulation. I mean, could it be that Tesla's frequencies are actually the processing cycles of Musk's cosmic computer?
And this is where it gets really wild. What if those ancient Chinese systems, things like BaZi, which is basically a cosmic map of the exact moment you were born, what if that's not about fortune-telling at all? What if it's actually the user manual, the developer notes for this whole simulation, a way to literally read the source code of who you are?
Now, to really get this, you gotta kind of throw out what you think you know. We have to look past the whole superstition angle and see the incredibly logical, systematic framework that's been hiding there this whole time.
It's really all about changing the words we use, shifting our perspective. So instead of blind belief, think system logic. Instead of fortune-telling, let's call it a code review. And the biggest one, fate. Let's just drop that word. From now on, think of it as your factory settings. It's not some spooky, unchangeable destiny. It's just the program you started with.
Okay, so the most basic building block here is chi. Now, most people hear that and think air, or maybe life force. But in this framework, it's so much more. It's the universal background energy field, the cosmic data stream. It's basically what Tesla called the ether, that invisible medium that fills all of space and carries all the information, all those vibrations that create our reality.
So how is all that information in the chi field, well, coded? That's where yin and yang come in. And no, it's not just a cool symbol. It's literally the binary code of the universe, the zeros and ones, the on and off switch, the wave and the particle. It's the fundamental polarity that makes the whole simulation run.
All right, so if chi is the data stream and yin-yang is the binary, how does the program actually execute? Well, that happens through what the ancients called the 5 elements. But, and this is crucial, we're not talking about literal wood and fire here. These are the 5 core processes, the fundamental commands of the entire system. And this is the translation key. It's amazing. Wood isn't the tree. It's neganentropy, the force that creates order out of chaos. Fire isn't a flame. It's radiation, energy expanding outwards in all directions. Earth is the gravitational field, the stable platform everything is built on. Metal is all about contraction. It represents the rules, the boundaries, the constraints of a system. And water, that's the data stream itself, information flowing and in motion.
And get this, these elements, these processes, they interact just like waves in physics. When they support each other, what's called a generation cycle. It's just like constructive interference. The waves add up, they get stronger. That's that feeling when you're totally in the zone, right? Everything just clicks. But when they work against each other, the controlling cycle, that's destructive interference. The waves literally cancel each other out. And that's when you feel stuck, blocked, like you're hitting a wall.
Okay, so that's the big picture. But how does this whole cosmic computer thing apply to you personally? Well, your birth chart, your BaZi, is basically a screenshot of the entire system at the exact moment you came online. It's your personal operating system.
So let's break that down. Your BaZi chart, that's your unique source code and your hardware specs. Your Daymaster is your core processor, your CPU, which sets your own natural frequency. Then you've got these luck pillars, which are like major 10-year operating system updates, big shifts. And finally, the annual pillars, that's like the background radiation coming from the main server, a universal frequency that affects everybody but interacts with your specific hardware in a totally unique way.
So here's the real takeaway from all of this. All those times you feel unlucky, when nothing seems to go right and it feels like the whole universe is conspiring against you, it's not a curse. It's not bad karma. It's simply a physics problem.
In BaZi, they call this a clash. In physics, it's called phase cancellation. It means the frequency of the environment, the current year, the current month, is vibrating at exactly 180 degrees out of phase with your own core frequency. The best analogy? Noise-canceling headphones. They create an opposite sound wave to create silence. Well, that's what's happening to you. The universe's energy and your energy are canceling each other out, putting you in a zero-energy state. That's why you feel drained, why nothing works. It's not magic, it's wave mechanics.
You see, once you understand this, it changes the entire game. Literally. It gives you the chance to shift your role within this whole cosmic simulation.
Let's be honest, most people are living their lives like NPCs, non-player characters in a video game. They're just running the default program, reacting to whatever happens based on their factory settings. They don't even realize they're following a script.
And that's the big question you have to ask yourself, right? Are you just running on your default settings? Just reacting to the world based on your initial programming, without ever really choosing your next move?
But here's the thing. You don't have to be an NPC. You can become a player. See, a player learns the rules of the game. They know their own character's strengths and weaknesses. They see the big environmental shifts coming. They're not breaking the laws of physics. They're using them. They stop being played by fate and start playing with it. When you translate this ancient wisdom into the language of science and technology, well, you suddenly have the user manual for reality that nobody ever gave you. So the only real question is, are you ready to access your source code?